British Council for English Partnerships, North India. We have an interesting pair here. Today actually is the first for them, because today is the first time they have ever met. They've been working together for a year and a half, virtually, on developing the materials for the Bihar Language Initiative for secondary schools, known as BLISS, and today is the first time they're meeting. A little bit of background about them. Huma Riaz is a teacher trainer and materials writer for the British Council and Oxford University Press, based in Bangalore. She's been working in ELT for 10 years, and in her free time she loves going to the gym and experimenting in the kitchen. Rosie Tanner is a British freelance education consultant based in the Netherlands. She has written several books, including Tasks for Teacher Education, published by Pearson, and CLIL Activities, which is a Cambridge handbook for teaching, and it's available on the Cambridge stand in the next room. She's worked across the globe, including in Chile, China, Poland, and Kazakhstan, and Japan. And in her free time, she enjoys yoga and tango. So without further ado, I shall hand it over to Rosie and to Huma. And I think this is a hands-on session, so everybody be ready to move around.
Okay, thank you, Rustam. Can you hear me? You hear me okay? Now, welcome everybody. We're very excited that we're on the webcast, so also welcome to all the online people. The cameramen are going to have to be very clever this afternoon because you'll be moving around and playing, so that will be interesting to see what comes online. How many of you here are teachers? Can you put your hands up? Okay, great, thank you. And how many of you are teacher educators, trainers? Okay, great, so about half and half, of course, Teacher Education Conference. How many of you write materials? Okay, fewer people. And how many people are here from Bihar? Okay, I've got the people, the teacher education. Now, great to see you here. And international participants, how many have I got in here? Okay, one or two, great, okay. Since September 2013, I've been working with 3 writers on the BLISS project, the Bihar Language Initiative for secondary schools. And I've been helping a team of Indian writers to write materials that are appropriate, particularly for Bihar. And this is really a workshop this afternoon, so this is what we hope you will take away at the end of the afternoon. We will be doing, well, I'll give you a little introduction to BLISS, and you will be doing some activities in a moment. So, the overview. We're going to start off with the BLISS ball, which I will introduce you to in a minute. Then I will tell you about background to and objectives of BLISS, the principles behind the materials. It was interesting that Rod Blytho talked about those earlier today. Some challenges we had, some activities that actually nobody has seen yet because they're for Block 3. They're about teaching speaking in large classes. Some teachers and trainers' opinions on video and some written opinions. And then we do have time for questions and feedback. We would like to say, when we put our hands up, would you like to stop talking? And that's our sign. I've also got the microphone so I can say, please be quiet. So we have 2 rules. One is, if we put our hands up, please be quiet. And the second one is that we'll have some questions at the end. So I would like to start off with the BLISS ball. So I'm going to walk down and play a game with you. This is really to find out how much you know about BLISS. Okay. I'm going to throw the ball to somebody, and then I hope somebody with a microphone will go to the person. Huma will run to the person who's caught the ball, and I would like you to answer the question that's on your left thumb, the nearest question to your left thumb. And it's really finding out about you, finding out how much you know about the BLISS project. So here goes. You good at catching? Nobody wants to catch it. The lady in the green, yellow catch the ball. What's the question nearest to your left thumb?
What is your job? The question next to my left thumb is, what is your job?
And what is your job?
I'm a teacher educator.
And where are you a teacher educator?
I'm a teacher educator in Mumbai.
Okay, thank you very much. Throw it to somebody else you think might like to catch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you work?
Okay.
Yeah, I work in Palasa and high school.
Okay. And where is that in India? I should know.
It's in AP and it is from Srikakulam district.
Okay, thank you very much. Throw the ball back again this way somewhere. Yeah.
What's your magical solution for teachers working with large classes?
This is a more difficult question. What's your magical solution for teachers working with large classes?
Your vocal cords so that you are audible to them.
Okay, thank you. You certainly need to have a good voice. Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest challenge for teachers working with large classes? The same question, I think.
No, it's really, what do you think is their biggest challenge working with large classes?
The biggest challenge is to conduct, group activities. One cannot conduct group activities in big classes.
It's hard to conduct group activities with big classes, which is what we're trying to do this afternoon. Yeah. Okay, throw it once more. Throw the ball again. Can you throw the ball to somebody else? Okay, I'll throw it.
Happy related to your students. Oh, good, very relevant question. Thank you. When I see that they are flourishing, when I see that they are really coming out with flying colors, that really makes me very happy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You'll never know what the other questions were. I'm not quite sure how much you know about BLISS, but just a brief introduction. The BLISS project is run by the British Council and funded by DFID, the Department for International Development in the UK, and the RMSA, the Indian Ministry of Human Resource Development, and it's a 5-year project. The aims, well, what we're doing in the project is to develop a teacher training course and train the trainer notes for teachers with very few resources. You'll see some photos later in the workshop of the situation, the context that teachers are working in Bihar. Started in 2012, and the ultimate aim, very broad aim really, is to improve the English teaching in Bihar to help students eventually to get a better job, since English is important for that. And here are some of the objectives. There's a long list of objectives, but I think these are probably the most important ones. We're training a core group. I can't remember how many Michael said yesterday. I thought it was 160, but maybe it was 160 teacher educators. And yesterday I had the privilege of working with 54 of them in the pre-conference event as well. It's very intensive work going on in teacher training for these teachers in Bihar. And we have 7 major principles that are behind the materials for BLISS. Of course, improving communicative ability. The fact that learning is an active process. We need to be active in our brains, maybe also with our bodies. So it's difficult when you've got a large class, children are sitting still. We need to get their brains active. We need to get them really learning actively. And also that people who learn in a group construct meaning together. It's better, Huma and I write better materials because we work together, we co-construct. And I think children in the classroom, teacher teacher educators who are learning together also construct meaning together. So the group process is really important, the interaction is important. Also, everyone learns in a different way, and although there was an interesting comment about multiple intelligences this morning, I must say I am keen on multiple intelligences, but everyone does learn in a different way, so we need to take that into account as well, whether it's multiple intelligence or VAC or whatever. Motivation is also a factor in learning, so that's important. We want our classrooms to be more student-centred, that supports learning, and of course we want to get our teachers and our students thinking because that helps them to take in the information. And here are some lovely photos of the writing team. We have Aparajita Baradwai. She's not here, unfortunately, but some of you know her. An excellent trainer. She has wonderful contact with the teachers, as does Arun Ganapati. He's also not here. So that's the second writer that I've been working with. And then, of course, Huma, who is here in person. And Huma will tell you about some of the challenges along the way.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? All right, great. So let's move on to some challenges. Okay, so let's move on to some challenges connected to BLISS. So what do you think could be some challenges connected to writing materials for such low resource contexts? Any ideas? What do you think could be some challenges? Okay, great. Understanding people's needs.
Low resources.
Fantastic.
Curriculum.
Well done.
Large classroom.
Well done, fantastic. So you've given most of them for us, so here they are. While most of them are self-explanatory, I'm going to touch on a few of them. Number 2, which is the course book that the teachers have to compulsorily follow, which is called Panorama. The course book is anything but skills-based. Well, so it's very literature-based with dense text, and which are not really up to the students' level. Well, so while the course book is more appropriate for students between B2 to C1 level, the actual level of the students is very different, between maybe A1 to B2. Well, so let's look at number 5. Very, very few resources. And when I say that, all we could think of is a blackboard and some chalk, and if you're lucky, maybe some chalk of different colors. That's about it. Well, and number 7, trainers is generic training skills. So when you look at the teacher educators who train teachers in Bihar, they need a lot of support with training skills that they need for delivering these courses, starting with building rapport with their participants in the classroom, planning the course and the different workshops on the course, also sequencing activities for the courses that they deliver, giving feedback to the teachers during the course. So those are some of the challenges that we face when we write materials or when we wrote materials for BLISS. So let's take a look at some photos to better understand the situation. So here is a typical school in Bihar for us. Some students, bright and energetic. And that's the resource that the teachers have. And this is the textbook, which is Panorama. If you can see, there's an example there for you. Let's look at some opinions from teachers about teaching large classes in Bihar. And this is what some teachers seem to feel. Just please take a quick look. Okay, from here we're going to move on to the actual materials for the BLISS project. I mean, the English for All Bihar materials. And we've written material for 3 blocks, starting with active learning and my classroom, which which looks at concepts such as giving instructions, writing clear aims for your lessons, managing the classroom, etc. From there, the teachers move on to looking at teaching reading more effectively because their course book, which the panorama, is more literature-based. So therefore, teaching reading more effectively. And then we look at teaching speaking because this is not a very big part of the course curriculum, but which the state and the teachers feel is very important. They feel is very important for their students because this affects their employability in the long run. So these are the 3 blocks of modules that we've written on the BLISS project. Today, as part of these blocks, we've chosen block 3, teaching speaking, of which we're going to demonstrate 2 activities for you, the balloon game and grumbling and gloating. So let's move on to the first one, which is the balloon game. Give me a moment, please. Okay, so are you ready to participate in this game? Yes or no? Fantastic. So please listen to me carefully. We're going to play this game called the balloon game. And for that, you're going to be working in groups. So imagine wherever you're seated, each of us is a group. Well, people seated there, can you please form a group? And that come together. And the come together. All right. Rules of the game. You're going to do this is a quick warming up activity connected to teaching speaking. And you're going to form some phrases as a group connected to teaching speaking to get introduced to the idea of teaching speaking in large classes. So the rules of the game, you're going to work in groups. When I say go, one runner from each group runs to the balloons that are here at the front, where each of these balloons have some phrases connected to teaching speaking. The runner bursts the balloon without using his or her hands, picks up the 10 pieces of paper, runs back to the group, and as a group you form 5 phrases connected to teaching speaking. When you finish, shout BLISS. So let's see who gets that done first. For example, here is an example of a phrase that's teaching pronunciation. So you got to form 5 phrases connected to teaching speaking by bursting the balloon without using your hands. The first team who does that gets back to the group, forms the phrases, and shouts BLISS. Are you ready? Yes, please choose the runner from your group. Yes, are you ready? Okay, your time starts now. Go. Yes, please pick up all the 10 pieces of paper. Yes, please get back to your group if you're ready. I hope you have all the 10 pieces with you.
There's one more balloon.
Yes, there's one more balloon. All right, okay, time out. Please settle down. Please settle down. Can you check if you can form 5 phrases connected to teaching speaking? When you finish, you shout BLISS.
You need to make 5 phrases related to teaching speaking.
Another minute or so. All right, I heard bliss from somewhere. There I go. Oh, we have a group here that's got all the phrases. Hands up signal. Hands up signal. What do you need to do? Yes, hands up signal. What do you need to do? Yes, please settle down. Okay, we have a group here with the answers, so let's hear from them.
It's monitoring and giving feedback.
Fantastic.
Setting up activities.
Okay.
More student talking time.
Great.
Effective speaking, engaging students.
That could be different.
And pair and group work activities.
That could be different too. So you need to think of 3. Anyone here? Okay, let's listen to just another group.
Setting up activities.
Setting up activities. Yeah. Monitoring and engaging students.
Oh, already? Yes, could you quickly tell us what you have? That needs to be different. All right, don't worry, here they are for us. Have you got that?
We got.
Setting up pair and group work, more student talking time. You have effective speaking activities and monitoring and giving feedback. Some aspects connected to teaching, speaking. Now, can you please work together in your group and talk to each other, discuss, think about how you practice these aspects of connected to teaching, speaking in your classroom. So can you discuss how do you monitor and give feedback? How do you motivate and engage your students? How do you set up pair and group work? So here are the phrases. And how do you think you conduct effective speaking activities? So can you take a minute or two to discuss how you try to practice these aspects connected to teaching, speaking in your classroom? So in your groups, in your rows, can you please talk to each other? Let's talk to each other, please. Yes, can you please talk to each other? time up. Let's listen to a couple of you. Anyone who'd like to volunteer? Is there anyone who'd like to volunteer? You can talk about any one of these aspects. All right, great. We have a few volunteers this side.
Okay, I'd like to talk more on student talking time. I'm a trainer myself, and I really encourage, because all our course books in India are literature-based. So we have a huge problem with the teachers, and they don't get ideas easily. So I try to encourage them to help their students talk more and more in the class, and don't feel conscious of not talking themselves. So that's that's a challenge I face here in India.
Thank you. There's someone out there for us?
Yeah, students hesitate to speak in English. And it is the role of a teacher to create an environment, motivate them and engage them so that they should speak in English. At the same time, large classroom. In the large classrooms, it is the role of a teacher to become a monitor.
Great.
And students should be divided in groups and pairs. And the role of a teacher is just to monitor how they are working. Students should be engaged, and at the end of the session, it is the role of a teacher to give feedback that how they perform, where they lack, how they will bring improvement in their performance. So overall, the teacher should be active behind the curtain.
Thank you very much.
Students should be more active. Thank you.
Thank you. He mentioned an important thing, motivating students so that they could be more involved. So does anyone have any ideas for motivating and engaging your students? There's someone out there for us? Yes.
We can tell a short story to motivate and engage the students before the start of the class. And the second one, that is setting up pair and group work. I'll give a situation, for example, an introduction to a story, and ask the students to continue the story and come to a conclusive end. And about the third one, more student talking time. I'll ask an individual student to talk about their any event or any incident which has changed their lives.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. While I leave you wondering about how you could adapt this activity for your students in the classroom, over to Rosie for the second activity and more things in this workshop. Over to you, Rosie.
The next activity, actually, I'll stand on the stage so you can see me. That activity that Huma was facilitating was activating prior knowledge, really. This is an activity where we can give some input about what are the advantages and disadvantages of teaching in large classes. And it's called Grumbling and Gloating. And gloating means that you're having a really good time. And it's based on an activity that was written by Jill Hadfield in one of her communication games books, so I should give her a credit for that. And as teachers in India, it's quite natural to feel it's a challenge working in large classes. But there are some positive aspects too, and this is partly what this activity is about. So you're going to do a role play. I think we'll give a card per 2 people. You will each get a card, and you will either be a grumbling teacher or a gloating teacher. And the grumbling teacher doesn't like teaching in large classes and is fed up about it and has got a lot of marking, etc. The gloating teacher is very pleased because he's got lots of interaction in his classroom, etc. So I'd like you to read your role card and get into role and imagine the teacher behind the role. You'll have a moment to do that. And then when I say stand up, I would like you to talk to other teachers about teaching speaking. So you have to talk to people according to your role, and there is somebody who has precisely the opposite view of yours. So you're
really glad because the students participate, and the other teacher is really sad because the teachers are not the students are not participating, for example. And you have to find a match, somebody who has got the opposite of all the points on your card. So we'll spend a while handing out the cards, and then in a moment, so get to know your card as we hand them out, and then I'll ask you to stand up and see if you can find your partner. Okay. Oh, I should. Yes, there's an example. Sorry. Here's an example of the Grumbling teacher card, and then the matching one would be this one. So the first one, very pessimistic. The students don't have energy and say nothing. And then on the other one, the students really love them and are very energetic. So that's the opposite. So the two cards would look like this. This is the example. exactly the opposite.
Check, check, check.
When you have found your match, remember the letter and the number.
Check, 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 check.
Remember the letter and the number, your match. Could you all sit down, please? And I'll give you the answer. Okay, could everybody sit down? Guys at the front, could we sit down, please? 3, 2, 1, sit down. Please sit down. Remember your letter and your number. Could you all please sit down? And Huma will ask a pair. Who thought they'd got a match? Who thought they'd got a match? Okay, Huma, could you go with a microphone? Somebody go with a microphone to a match. Which letter and which number do you have?
Second.
E7? E7, okay. I will tell you the answers in a moment. Another one? Yes?
G8.
G8, okay.
2F.
2S, okay. I shall just read out the answers. I haven't got them on the board. 5A, 6B, 4C, 3D, 7E, F2, G8, and H number 1. Okay. So this is really an activity to get us thinking about what are the good things about working in large classes. Here are some pictures of our training classroom. We thought you might also like to see those. You can see everybody's very active, working in their groups. Sometimes it's hot, so we stand outside, or the classroom's too small, so we stand outside. Teachers are making a poster. They're learning to make stick figures. Again, here we have another poster. And then I would like to show you a video, but I'll just have to find it. Here's a video of some teachers and trainers, and I'm afraid there's a lot of traffic noise at the back, but I did want to show it to you. Oh no, it's not. Wait a moment. Could somebody help me find the video?
Ma'am, I think that this book is very fruitful for us and it's very functional, full of activities. And the best thing which I like most is that it has the clear aims, the session aims and the big ideas which has prepared us for the next activities, what we are going to do. And the very interesting thing is that students are more focused in it. It is child-centered book material, and it helps us to be more interactive, more interesting, and making our classroom more informative in a way.
The material is very good because for the teachers of Bihar, because they can understand it very well. That means material is the thing which is written in the material is very clear to us. The level of language is also very easy, and they can grasp it very easily.
There are so many pictures, instructions are given clearly, and activities are given there. So we learn through activity very well, and there is a very big thing is big ideas and session aims. It helps us to follow the learning very well.
This is Saloni here, and for me this book is awesome. Everything, whatever is written in this book was awesome, and I will apply this in my classroom. Thank you very much.
It is very easy to follow. We can adopt it easily in our classroom, and it is also interesting and easy for our participants. And the most interesting thing is once we go through the teacher educator note, we don't have to turn it while proceeding the training.
The teacher educator notes have interesting activities, and this create a lot of interest among the participants. They are very eager to try these out.
All you have seen in our classes only because of British Council and your material. Thank you.
I think the materials are quite helpful. The language is very easy, and our teachers from high school are able to follow it very well. And I, as a teacher educator, am able to use the notes very successfully, and I am getting very positive results from my teachers. It's also helping because this teacher workbook also has some tasks connected with the panorama lessons, and the teachers are feeling that yes, they can take it back to the classroom very successfully and use it very positively with their students and get good results.
I'm not quite sure how good the sound was there, if you could understand, but the teachers and the trainers that was in Muzaffarpur in December, they were all very happy about the course and the materials that they were using. And somebody asked me about the materials. They will be available in the end. They will be available, I think, freely, because they're developed under the auspices of DFID. There are some more comments from the participants. The trainers are very pleased with the materials and the sessions, and they want more, of course. Time for questions. I hope you got a little bit of a flavour of some of the activities. These were very fun activities with a serious aim. So, questions. Who would like to ask us things? Everyone's tired at the end of the day. Donald, somebody got a microphone?
Okay.
One of the things is that in the activities that you did was that the danger of them just looking at the cards and showing the cards and not speaking. How would you overcome that?
Yes, I think that's a very good question. I think I would now add an extra step in, that people would look at their cards, get into role, put the cards away, and then speak to each other. Thank you. It's a good question. Sorry? For the grumbling and gloating activity, the one? Do you want to answer that?
Is it possible?
Well, the teacher could take them outside the classroom, if that's possible. Well, otherwise, I mean, the teacher will have to manage.
It becomes difficult, you know, inside a classroom.
It's
Any
true.
such exercises. And
That is very true, and it depends on your context and your classroom. But we're talking about, these are teacher education materials, and then we do have classrooms where the desks are fixed sometimes, but normally the trainers do manage to do it with the teachers. But these are training materials rather than teaching materials.
Okay, these are training.
Just explain what should the exact time for one period within 30 minutes. In Maharashtra, we have 30 minutes period in.
So what's your question?
So suppose we have to conduct such type of activities. 30-minute period is too short. Should we extend that time of that period?
To be very honest, now that leads us to a different topic altogether.
I know,
which is more
I know.
administrative. Well, but what we encouraging teachers to do.
But it is connected. This is very essential part.
I agree. Well, what we are trying to suggest.
What you do in Bihar? I want to know. The period time is 30 minutes of the school in the school, or it is 45? Okay, okay. I want to just clarify that what is there in Bihar. Okay, thank you.
But of course, if we have a training session, then it's 3 hours or 6 hours, so it's much longer.
I just want to thank you for a very, very good presentation.
Thank you.
We were all very involved,
Thank you.
and it's a large class here. So whatever activities you did, I think they were very useful.
Thank you very
and they
much.
can be done in the classes very easily. And the materials used, even in villages, I think they would be available. So where there is a will, there is a way, I must say. I have just one question, and that is, in very large classes in schools, with the textbooks that they have, so these materials that you have developed, do they go along with the textbooks?
Yes,
or separate?
We try very hard to implement. So, for example, our second block is on reading, and we use text from Panorama, the textbook, to show examples of how to use Panorama with different reading skills and strategies. That's one of the aims, really, to use the materials, and also in the block on teaching speaking.
Yeah, I'd like to add something to that. If you look at teaching speaking, which is not a very big part of the course curriculum at all in Bihar, what we've tried to done is use these texts, reading texts from the course book, and create speaking activities around the course material, so that the teachers can see that it is possible for them to do.
And one of the things that the teachers in Bihar say, we like the materials because they're linked to our textbook.
Most of the students can't read English, and so there is no question of speaking. So what happens that in the classroom, only 4 or 5 students are quite intelligent, and they can understand the material. So in that circumstances, a problem comes. The problem comes is how to handle the situation, how to teach the students, because the teacher knows this fact very well, that whatever he is teaching, only 5 to 6 students are understanding, and the rest of the class is just watching. So how can we solve this problem? My question is this. Thank you.
I think the only answer I can think of is that in the teaching speaking block, we are starting off with very simple speaking activities so that gradually they will build up their more confidence. So really very basic. We know that the level of the students is low, and also thinking of the role of the better students, also taking that into account when we've written our materials. So you have to wait till block 3.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I would like to add something to that. For example, I mean, if you take the text from Panorama, we've created simple activities talking about your home, your friends, daily life, which the students might want to engage in because they're more motivating, more personalized for them.
I'd just like to add to this when he says that the students are unable to learn, and we have Debbie here, and she says that it's the job of the teacher. Of course, we in India, as
it's the job of the teacher to motivate the students to learn.
Yeah, actually, when we develop learning and teaching in India now in this century, we should bring the onus onto the teachers, that the teachers are responsible for the students to learn. It's not the students who are responsible for learning themselves.
We motivate them, but what is the case in Bihar, that till 8th class, English is not compulsory. And even in 10th class, English is not compulsory. So it is a biggest drawback for all of us. And it is very difficult for us. If the students don't know what is A, B, C, D, like they study it at 5th class, 6th class, and they can't read English. We certainly motivate them. It is our duty, but it is the duty of government that they should provide. English should be made compulsory from 1st class, not in +2. English becomes compulsory in +2.
Hello.
Thank you very much. You answered the question for us.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
May I, sorry? Okay. May I want something? Situation is now improving. This is not such the case that my colleague is describing. Now, I mean, after 2011, there are lots of improvement in our schools. And I think the percentage of understanding or doing something in English is improving much, and growing much. So it is gradually improving. There is no need to be just sorry about that. So it is improving.
Okay, that's much about grumbling and gloating teachers. Yes. Okay. Now I have a question to ask. You said you train the teachers. How do you know whether they have implemented? You don't have any feedback from the learners.
There is a monitoring process that has gone on. I don't know if Michael Connell is here, can say anything about it, but they have observed classrooms, the teachers in the classrooms before the training and then after the training. And a lot of teachers are using more English in the classroom. The learners are being more active. So it is being monitored very closely. I think we have to close and stop. Can you ask us any more? Come up to us and ask us any more questions at the end.
Maybe we could take more questions offline. Maybe we'll have to
Ma'am,
stop.
one problem.
No, we're going to stop. We're going to stop. We have to round off. Rustam's waiting to...
okay.
So please do come up to us after the workshop. We'll be here. And thank you very much for coming.
Okay, thank you very much, Rosie and Huma, for a very interesting talk and a very animated response right from the people. The look on the faces of the people jumping on the balloons was absolutely priceless. So thank you very much for that. That's something that will stay with us. We'd like to give you this gift as a token of appreciation.
Thank you very much. And thank you to the British Council for funding my visit as well.
Thank you very much. And if you have any further comments, Rosie and Huma will be available just here if you would like to share any feedback with them. Okay? Thank you very much. There will be a debate starting at 6:15, so please stay here.